Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hope I got this right. My husband and I just got a new computer, and we're still trying to figure all the wonderful things out about it, especially how the video camera works. But I think I finally figured it out. So, anyway, I wanted to wish you all a blessed and wonderful day. And this video I'm making in response to a video that was made by my lovely daughter, Poe. Um, she had been asked apparently by a client of hers, or maybe several clients of hers, um, a couple of questions concerning her tarot decks, how she does things, just kind of to answer a few questions for them, maybe a beginner, somebody who's just learning the tarot, I'm unsure. But I thought it was a brilliant idea. She did such a wonderful job of it, and I loved watching it. So I thought, why not do one of my own to kind of expand on it a little bit. She is my daughter, and I love her to death, and we're close, but we do things a little bit differently. And I think when you're learning something, a skill, or anything really, you develop your own ways of doing things. And um, so through these videos, you can pick and choose what works best for you, depending on your situation, depending on your taste and what you want to do, how you like doing things. So this is just to offer another perspective and another way. Neither one is wrong, neither one is right. It just is. It's what we're comfortable with. We are both sensitive empaths. We are both cancers. I happen to be a three-way cancer, which means my sun, my moon, and my ascending are all in Cancer. Miss Poe is Cancer. She was born on the night of the full moon. She was also born on uh, the night that my grandmother passed over, and my grandmother was a very well-known medium and empath. Um, so a lot of us in our family believe that little Poe was destined to do this work because of that. But anyway, so I have received questions through the years about how I do things, and I'm here to kind of answer some of those. And I've written some down and taken some from Poe's video, and I'll expand on those a little bit. So the first question that I usually get is, do you have any rituals you perform um, with laying a spread or working with the tarot deck or beginning your day, if your day is going to be with readings, filled with readings, etc.? And I do. I have a very specific ritual that I perform. It starts the moment I wake up. And typically every day I have readings. So this is something that I do probably most every day. I am not somebody that wakes up right away and jumps out of bed and is ready to just hit the road running. That's not my style. I have to kind of center and ground myself, and I'll do that first thing in the morning. I'll typically lay in the same position that I woke up, and I'll just let my mind start working. It's a slow process, and the older I get, the slower it gets, but that's just life. I'll take in my surroundings. I'll notice the room. I have several crystals and grids in our bedroom. I will notice them. They will come into clarity as my eyes clear. Of course, I'll notice the time, see what time it is. I'll also notice the day, what the day is like. I live here in Florida, so uh, it, what you wake up to could be anything. Bright sunny morning, an overcast stormy day. If there's thunder or lightning in the area, I'll listen to that. That helps me wake up. So that's what I do, and then slowly kind of get out of bed, get my bearings, and then the next thing, followed very closely, is I walk to the kitchen and I make my coffee. I'm one who cannot start her day without coffee. I make no apologies about that. I understand some people don't believe caffeine is a good thing for you, but in my case, it works. So I do what I can. You wake up the way you need to wake up. I wake up the way I need to wake up. After I get a cup or two of coffee in myself and I feel like my spine is now reconnected with my brain, I perform an empathic protection ritual, and I call this ascending the dome. I believe Poe referred to it in her video as an eggshell meditation. Basically the same thing, we just call it different things. Um, I will meditate for a few moments and reach what I call, or what is typically called, the alpha state. Um, Meditating to the alpha state is much easier than most people believe. It takes a while to get to the point where you can just put yourself there, but once you can, it takes me the count of 3 to get to the alpha state. And alpha is simply a very alerted, heightened sense. Your mind is clear of the clutter that you tend to take on through the day, so that you're open to whatever meditation practice or whatever you're planning to do. Once I am in the alpha state, then I picture a crystal dome forming above my head, maybe about like this, and with a bright white light at the very top of it. And as this dome reaches the top of my head and over the top of me, the white light helps to spread it down around me. And as this happens, I can picture in my third eye this happening. Manifestation of this dome is critically dependent on your ability to visualize this within your mind. So I use my third eye to do this with. I work very hard to keep my third eye open at all times. So anyway, the dome ascends upon me, the white light energizes it, and there it remains until I choose to remove the dome. So that's how I start my day and my empathic protection. This is important because I only want to take on somebody's energy that I choose to take on. If I don't use this ascension dome, I tend to take on everybody's energy, and that really can play havoc with me. Now, when I start with my cards, the first thing I do in the morning is I will shuffle them. I'm trying to get there. I will shuffle them. And I don't use a bridge shuffle, where you separate the deck into 2 and you put the thumb on the top of the cards and then you let them fall in a bridge. I don't ever do that with my tarot cards. And the reason I don't do that is I believe it's too chaotic. I believe that there needs to be a very calm, energetic feel to the cards, and in order to do that, I use a shuffle like this. It's just over and over the top. I use it the long way, like this, if you can see. Or you can also do it and this way, where you hold the cards like this and just let them go over the top like this. So that's how I do that. But before I do that, I forgot to mention one thing I do go through. I go through the cards. This is the Gilded Tarot, by the way. I go through the cards and I make sure that each card is upright. If the cards choose to reverse, or if any of the card chooses to reverse, it does that by itself. I make sure that each day is started anew and the cards are in the upright position. Then I begin to shuffle. As I am shuffling, I also remain in this alpha state, and I close my mind to any distractions. I meditate and shuffle and hold the deck in my hand and just feel it. Like I say, I go through the cards, make sure that I write any reversals. Then once I have completed that, to make sure that the cards are cleared of all negative energy and that I am connected with the card, what I will typically do is ask a yes or no question. a question that I know the answer to already. Either something like, is the sky blue today? Is it raining outside? Is my dog laying next to me? Something that I know the answer to. And then I will pull one card in response. If the card verifies, yes, this is so, such as, okay, is my dog laying next to me? And I get a card that signifies yes. And it's kind of up to you to decide what cards are yes cards and what cards are no cards, and what cards are unknown or maybe cards. If I get a yes card, then I know that my connection is made. If not, I'll continue meditating, placing my intentions in the cards. During all of this meditation, I also use crystals. They're very important to my work. I use crystals as I'm opening myself up in the beginning of the day. I use them before, during, and after all readings. Some of the crystals that I use, I'll tell you really quick right now. I'll use, this is an amethyst pyramid that I have that I just love. It really works well for reaching the energies that I need to reach in order to read for somebody. I also keep this little amethyst pyramid on top of my deck at all times, and that makes sure that it's kind of protected and it keeps the doorways open between us. I also have a amethyst crystal point. I have several actually. These are very nice. I use those. I also use a clear crystal point or a tumbled clear crystal quartz. You can see that. It's got a very nice point on it. And those are some of the things that I use initially. I'll also use a beautiful stone, blue selenite. I don't have it here with me. It stays kind of in my living room because it's got a very high vibration with a very loving, calming energy. And I'll go get that stone. It's actually a geode or a druze. I'll go get that and I'll hold it and rest it next to my cards if I feel the cards are just not connecting with me, or they feel, folks, this is a very much a feeling art. You must learn to trust your feelings and your intuitions, and I trust it implicitly. If my intuition tells me the cards are very negative or have some kind of strange energy, then I need to dispel that energy and calm them down, and blue celestite is great for that. Another really great grounding stone for myself, as well as the cards, as well as protecting from the energy magnetic fields that electronics give off, is black tourmaline. I have black tourmaline all over my house. I have it in front of all my electrical, like computers, TV, anything that I think gives off, I'll show it to you, anything that I think gives off an EMF field. And I'll put it in front of. I also have black tourmaline over the top of my front and back doors. And this is just it's a great transmuting stone. It transmutes negative energy, gets rid of it, or transforms it into positive energy. And you just never know what's going to come through your door. So that's really important to me. Watermelon tourmaline, no, I didn't bring that in here with me, is a great. Watermelon tourmaline is pink and green and white. To me, it signifies a deep heart chakra stone because we associate the colors pink and green with the heart chakra, and then white or clear with clear crystal quartz. And clear crystal quartz is just an all-around general wonderful stone. So watermelon tourmaline is a great one for if I'm going to do a love reading or a relationship reading. It removes imbalances from anybody, from the situation, from myself, from the cards. It feeds the life force that we all have, and it soothes and harmonizes. So I use that. Sometimes it seems, if the cards are really, really blocked, then I'll pick up my angel light. This is my angel light. It's a gorgeous blue stone with some brown running through it. You can see it. This is a tumbled stone. Angel light helps with higher communication, to reach your guardian angels, to reach your higher self, that higher level that we all aspire to get to, especially those of us who use our talents to help people. Angel light is a beautiful stone for that. So that's another one that I use. And when it comes to, I'll go more into the other stones that I use when I talk about my favorite type of reading that I do. But also I wanted to mention too, if I do a career or finance reading, I use a citrine. This is a beautiful, clear, just gorgeous, pale yellow citrine point. And I hope you can see that really nicely. This is what you want to look for when you get citrine. Sometimes you'll see citrine that it's very bright orange on the top, and then it's like muddled white on the bottom. Chances are that's not a true citrine. In fact, I think I have one here. I do have one. This is a citrine point that I bought before I realized, if you can see the bright orange on the top here? And then it's kind of opaque white or muddled white here. Chances are really, really good. This is not a true citrine. What this is an amethyst that has been heated. And this is what happens when you heat an amethyst. The purple turns orange, but only on the top. Picture this in the middle of a druze or a geode. You've got all these little points at the top. They heat up to the orange, but the bottom part of it doesn't get that heat as intensely, so it remains white. So this is probably a heat-treated amethyst. I'll go into later whether or not that is a true citrine or not. I still feel like it's a very worthwhile stone, and I will use it for certain things. So now, on to the next question. Let's go through, do I have a favorite tarot deck? And I actually have 3 of them. I have several tarot decks, but there are 3 go-tos that I really use a lot. My first one I already showed you is my Gilded Tarot. Here's the back, and this is one of the pictures on the front. This is the 5 of Swords. And there's really a lot of symbolism, a lot of pictures within these cards. There's also colors that are associated with this card. There's also astrological features that are associated with this card. And I tend to be drawn to things that are related to astrology. That's me. Another deck that I just absolutely love, and I hope that you can see it. It's very hard to see, but I'm going to try and put a background behind it so that you can see it. This is the Transparent Tarot, and here are 2 cards from the Transparent Tarot, if you can see. You can see that they are transparent, but you use a white cloth when you lay your spread so you can see the pictures on them. The pictures are very minimalistic, but the great thing about this is, and I'll show you here real quick, you can add a dimension to this by putting the cards on top of one another, layering them. So these 2 cards in a spread would say one thing, and then you put them together and you may get a whole different type of picture here. This looks like something about somebody, this is obviously a Cups card. It's actually the Knight of Cups, And this card seems to show that somebody is ascending into a greater life, a greater pattern. So that's another card that I use when I really want to get a deep look into a situation, the Transparent Tarot. The last deck that I use, which is kind of new to my repertoire but still very powerful, is called the Mandala Astrology Tarot. And here is the back of the deck. You can see it's in a perfect square, and this is done for a reason. Mandala is a term which is used to describe an abstract consecrated place. It can also be used as a map of the cosmos or a geometric projection of the earth, which is kind of reduced to an essential pattern. If anybody knows anything about mandalas, you know it's a kind of a geometric pattern. The typical mandala pattern is the flower of life, which is portrayed as an open lotus flower, and the petals are all kind of integrated, or they're in sync. They're the same size. It's a beautiful, beautiful color that's used to color this particular mandala. Now, with this mandala tarot, I'll show you again. This is the back of the tarot, so you don't know. This is the front. This is the Tower card. You can see there's minimal symbolism on here, although you can clearly tell if you know anything about the tarot deck and the Tower card. This is clearly the Tower card. The great thing about this is not only does it take the pictures and symbolisms into account, it takes the planet, which is Mars. It takes the astrological sign. It's associated with Aries and Scorpio. It also takes the cardinal direction into account. Because these cards are completely square, you could end up with cards that are turned this way. So if you have the title of the card going into an easterly direction, that means one thing. If you have a reverse card, the title is in a southern direction. And this way, your card is in a westerly direction. And then this, of course, is the northerly direction. So you've got a lot of different aspects with these cards, and they're very, very intricate, very detailed. So this is another one. And again, this is associated with astrology, so it appeals to me very, very much. So those are my three go-to decks. Do I have a favorite go-to spread? Yeah, I've got a couple again, actually. I don't have one favorite of much of anything, but for an in-depth or general spread that encompasses many areas of someone's life, there's a spread that I call the directional or cardinal spread. And what this does is, like the mandala deck, it makes use of the directions. So you have cards that sit in the north, the south, the east, the west, a card that's in central, and sometimes I'll put a line of cards at the bottom, depending. Again, this all comes back to intuition, so you got to trust how you feel and what's the best. For quick readings or for specific questions, I love the 3 or 5 card line spreads. So those are the spreads that I use. Now, somebody once asked me, do I have one memorable reading experience that I can talk about? Reading, as far as tarot goes, I always am thrilled when somebody comes back to me and says, you know, everything you said, it all happened. One in particular, I had this woman, her and her boyfriend had broke up, and she was so devastated, but she knew it was for the best, but she wanted to know if he was moving on or what was happening. I got a clear picture in my head that he was learning from what had happened. He was making the most of making himself a better person in order to present himself as a better person to her. And I also got in the reading that he drove by her home. I described to her a large brick building, almost like an apartment complex, that she that this man was driving by in a dark car, and she verified all that, saying that yes, I do live in a brick building. It's an apartment. My boyfriend owns a dark car. I believe I even gave her the model and make of the car. She said, yes, that's him. I described him to her. Later on, she came back to tell me that they had gotten back together and that I was right, that he had grown up and he had learned from his mistakes, and they were very happy. So that was a great one. But one of the ones that really sticks with me is my abilities to connect with the other side. I do not call myself a medium or channeler because I cannot do this at will. I can only do this when the other side wants to contact me. For this reason, I leave myself open at all times, especially during a reading with somebody, to the possibility of being contacted from the other side. So the first time this happened, it was quite stunning to me because of all the detail that I was able to relate and the message, excuse me, the message that I was able to give this young woman. It was her aunt that was reaching out to her, and this aunt was with me a good bit of the day, even after I had stopped communicating with her niece. Her aunt was still with me, kind of spending time with me, and it was quite interesting. When I'm visited by people from the other side, they don't speak to me. I'm not clairaudient in that manner, in that respect. I am clairaudient with the living, but not with the dead. I instead receive pictures and symbols from them, and then I try to figure out exactly what they're trying to tell me. Sometimes it's a hit and miss, and I have to ask a lot of questions. So, anyway, those are two of the more standout memories that I have. Now, somebody once asked me, what's my favorite type of reading? I love, career, general, and this is just a no-brainer for me. It's got to be love. But this is a double-edged sword. If I see something wonderful happening, it's the most satisfying reading of all. But if something not so great is coming down the line, or I see things that are less than perfect and less than wonderful, and I have to tell my client that, well, that's not so great. Beyond that spread, a love spread, I'm one of the few readers that truly enjoy a general reading. Most readers want a specific area or topic. Do I have a favorite card for myself? My daughter mentioned she loves the High Priestess, and that's her favorite card. And I have to second that. That's also one of the cards that I just love to see. When it comes to somebody else and the spread, I love to see the Ace of Cups turn up. That's a beautiful card for me. The Two of Cups, these are both very strong love cards. I also love the Moon card. The Moon, to me, is just completely about emotion. And since I'm Cancer, I live in my emotions. I'm fully immersed in them at all time, and seeing the Moon card just makes me feel at home. And I can get very specific with the Moon card when I draw it in a reading for somebody else. So those are some of the cards that I really like. My least favorite card, and this is a no-brainer for me, especially given that love is my my favorite topic or my favorite area to read about, the Three of Swords. This card scares me more than the Devil or the Tarot or the Tower card. For me, in my experiences, when someone's asking about a current relationship that maybe they feel is not going well, or they're having problems, and I draw the Three of Swords, it nearly always means that there's a third person in the relationship which is causing problems. This indicates affairs, infidelity, deceit. These are always at the base of this card. And again, this is in my experience. You may have a different experience with that. Okay, so how do I ground after a reading? How do I settle myself down? I need to ground. In the work that I do, I might have 10 readings in one day, so I don't ground after each and every reading. I just don't have the time to do it. So instead, I keep my black tourmaline handy, and I'll hold that. That really dispels the negativity and pushes back the energy. Sometimes I'll put it at my feet and I'll play with it with my toes if I'm barefoot, which I usually am. That grounds me into the world, into the earth. Then I go through the process of lowering or ascending my dome again. I have my dome raised. I did mention this. I have to raise my dome in order to let my client's energy come through. I'm an energy light reader, and that's how I make my connection with them. In order to do that, I have to raise my dome, but that leaves me open to others. So I try to make sure that we're in a private session or we're here alone together, so I don't take on anything else. And then I immediately, after dispelling the energy, I lower the dome quickly. And I give my appreciation to the cards, to my spirit animals for the guidance and the help that they have provided me. So, some of the favorite stones that I use when I'm doing a reading, I've mentioned a couple of them. Amethyst is my go-to. That's the stone that I always have with me. Doesn't matter what kind of reading it is. Doesn't matter if I'm going to use cards, pendulum, astrology, whatever. It's my amethyst pyramid. That's my go-to. I also have a set of, and these are not talked about very often, but these are bogie stones. And you can see them. One is a male and one is a female. These are like iron, I believe, iron pyrite that has been buried deep in the earth, and they usually are paired. Although there are more female stones than there are males, but the optimal idea is to have a male and a female. This connects your yin and yang. This grounds you. This stabilizes you. This helps you to ascend a higher level. These are protection stones. I love these stones. I always have my male stone in my right pocket, or I'm sorry, in my left pocket, and my female stone in my right pocket, and or I'll set them out near the spread if I need to. I use rose quartz. As you can see, this is a raw, not polished, not tumbled rose quartz. Very pretty, very pink. That's for love, of course. I will use, this is, you might think this is a clear quartz point, but it's not. It's a Lemurian seed point. Lemurian seed points help me to, and this has some fascinating features in it. It's got some record keepers on it, which if you want to look it up, you can. There's a lot of information on record keepers. It's also got some phantoms on it. This is a beautiful Lemurian seed point. Lemurian seed points are used to ascend to the oneness of the universe. And I will use this if I'm having particular difficulty in reaching somebody's energy, especially if it's a third person's energy. Say somebody comes to me and they want to ask about their girlfriend or boyfriend, husband, wife, their daughter, their son, their mother, their father. If I'm dealing only with the energy of the third person, that third person is not with me to be able to talk to, I need to completely immerse myself in their energy. And if they're closed off or have learned to block their energy, Lemurian seed point really helps me to break through with that. Also, this is a great stone to use if you're trying to meditate and learn about previous lives. Again, I have my citrine points, these beautiful little clear points. These are used when we talk about career, finances, money, that sort of thing. So I have a couple of go-to stuff that I use. My stones are always with me. Oh, let me show you this. This is another stone that I have that is always with me, and no matter what the reading, but especially for a love reading. This is a selenite obelisk, and it's just beautiful. It's very substantial, very heavy. It's been carved into this obelisk point, And the rest of it is, it's very smooth on the facets, and it's very smooth. It's been polished on the bottom as well, but the sides are very raw and just have a lot of interesting bumps and things that go through it. I just love this stone, and this is a good one. I keep this with me almost everywhere. This is a good stone. I use it to cleanse other stones. I have another selenite log that I use, but this is a good stone for cleansing other stones. And all you do is place them on top like this, let them set for a while if you don't have another way of cleansing them, or you want to do a quick cleansing recharging. That's a good way of doing it. There's the rose quartz. You can set that on top. It immediately helps to re-energize. So when I do my tarot readings, I use my crystals as well. So now I get sometimes asked, any advice for new tarot readers? Well, you know, advice is like opinions. Everyone has some. I guess my advice to a new reader is to really get to know your deck inside and out. Meditate with each card. Touch each card. Look at the symbolisms that might be on the card. What direction does it lead you into? Look at the colors of the card. Look at the animals or any other things on the card that you can see, the plants, whatever happens to be there. Trust your feelings about the deck. Come up with your own tarot journal and write down each thing that you feel and think when you're holding these cards. The best thing too is to sleep with your cards. A new deck, especially a deck that has been given to you, you know has previous energy. First cleanse the deck, and you can do that by putting it in the moonlight or a salt. Put it in a bag with some salt for cleansing. 2 or 3 days usually works. Then sleep with the deck under your pillow and see what happens. When I first slept with my Gilded Tarot deck, I had some wild dreams. And the dreams were not always good. I had a bunch of them though, and I remember I was a little bit nervous about some of the bad dreams that I had, but somebody told me, don't be afraid. There's good and bad in a tarot deck. That only means that you connected very well with it to all aspects of the deck. So don't be afraid of the dreams that you have. They're being brought on by the tarot, and there are some cards in there that indicate rough times or negative times for some people. So you may pick up on that. Don't ever doubt yourself. How can you ask anybody to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? And that's exactly what you're doing when you take on a client. They want to believe in you. If you are scared of or intimidated by your how you do things and not sure, my biggest issue is the Long Island medium, Teresa something or other. I can't think of her last name. I've watched her show before, and people ask me this, do you watch her? What do you think of her? Well, I'm not impressed, and I'll tell you why. Every time she makes a connection, well, every time that I've seen her make a connection with somebody on the other side, she's as stunned that she did it, even more stunned and awed that she made that connection than the person she's reading for. To me, that does not inspire confidence, you know? So be confident in your abilities and know that you are going to make these connections, and be forthcoming with them. Start small with friends and acquaintances. I kind of advise reading against family until you can master your emotions, because what we tend to do when we're reading for those that we're very close for, we may get the Tower card, which is telling a forewarning something, but we want to put a positive spin on it because we don't want anything bad to happen to those that are close to us. We slant the perspective. So just make sure that you start small. Don't read for family members right off the bat. I'm not saying that there will never come a time when you can't do that, but in the beginning, don't do that right off the bat. You must be objective. Be prepared for criticism when you tell someone they don't want to hear. This is human nature. They're seeking you out to make themselves feel better. But that isn't always the case. I always reiterate to everybody, I am just the messenger. I cannot change the future. I don't believe in people who say they can change the future, they can cast spells that will make other people do certain things, fall in love with you, whatever. I do not believe in that. There's free will and free choice. If we choose to let somebody cast a spell on us, then that's our choice. If we don't, it's not going to be valid. So be prepared to hear the criticism, because they want you to make them feel better or make them feel good or tell them how wonderful it's going to be, and that's not always the case. Be honest, be compassionate. That's a big thing. Be inspirational as much as you can. If you get a difficult reading, try to help them look on a brighter side. There's always a brighter side. There's always a good side to things. Don't take it personal, and I know that's hard to do. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I've really enjoyed making it, and I thank Poe for inspiring me to do this, and look for more videos to come your way, probably centering around my crystal healing. As I get more videos done for that, I'll put them up, and please, please leave a comment. If you have a question, please leave a question. I'll check and I'll answer just as soon as I can. So, many blessings. Namaste. Crystal light to you. Take care.